Hey y'all, I hope you're having a great Easter week so far. Today we are in Matthew 27, and I'm going to be kind of scattered about talking about a bunch of different verses, but I'll be sure to reference them if you want to read along with me or on your own time, doesn't matter. But I wanted to start off by talking about Barabbas and who Barabbas was and why he was significant to the resurrection story, because for a long time I didn't know who Barabbas was. And so I just wanted to kind of share about that. So backtracking, this time in the Bible, there was going to be a Passover or the Passover, and there was going to be a really great feast, just a big gathering. And it was customary for the governor to make a pardon to one of the prisoners. And a pardon is just like a free pass, it's like a get out of jail free card for no reason. They didn't deserve it, it was just customary for them to do that. And so Barabbas was a murderer. And this time, you can, I guess, consider him as a terrorist, to relate it more to like our time. That's how bad he was. So he was in prison for that. And verse 21 says, the governor answered and said to them, "Whether of the twain will ye that I release unto you?" So the governor was asking the multitude, which is just the crowd or the audience or whoever was around, who should they release? And they said Barabbas. So they wanted Barabbas to be with them rather than Jesus. And Pilate saith unto them, "What shall I do then with Jesus, which is called Christ?" And they all say unto him, "Let him be crucified." So they wanted Jesus to die. And 23, it says, "And the governor said, Why? What evil hath he done?" But they cried out the more, saying, "Let him be crucified." So nobody could give a clear answer of why Jesus should be crucified. Nobody could say any evil that he done. Nobody could give a reason. There was none. They just wanted him to die. And even the governor knew that he was innocent. And in verse 24, it says that he took water and washed his hands before the multitude, saying, "I am innocent of the blood to this just person." And so he just couldn't wrap his mind around why they would rather have Barabbas released, who was clearly guilty and deserved to stay in jail, and why they would want Jesus. But that's just what happened. And, I'm grateful that it did, because it saved me and it saved a lot of other people, and it's continuing to save people. So it was horrible at the time, but it's good now. But after this, Jesus endured all of his sufferings. He was whipped, he had a crown of thorns, he was stripped naked, he had to be nailed to a cross, he was spit on. At the top of his cross there was King of the Jews. This is Jesus, the King of the Jews, yeah. And that says that in verse 37 of Matthew 27. And it was just mocking him. And the crowd and the guards that were watching over him were saying, like, "You saved other people, save yourself. If you're this Jesus, if you're this almighty, powerful person, save yourself, get off the cross." And they even said, "If you do this, we will believe that you are the Son of God." But Jesus wouldn't. Jesus stayed on the cross. And I think what a lot of people don't understand is that Jesus did not have to do this. I mean, like, he didn't have to do this. He decided to save us. God sent his son, his only begotten son, for whosoever shall believe of him shall not perish, but live everlasting life. Jesus didn't have to do this, but did. And it wasn't the nails that kept him on the cross, it was his love for us that did. I think that's really important to remember, because Jesus could have got up anytime, and he did later on, but he could have got off the cross and not suffered through all of this. And another thing that I don't think people understand is that Jesus was not joyful about it. He wasn't like, "This is amazing, I'm so excited to be crucified and save the world." It was not this at all. He was distraught, he was torn, because his father forsook him, one of those. But God had forsaken him, because Jesus had all of the sin of the world on him. And I think at this point of the story, which is in verse 46, Jesus was more distraught about that than even being on the cross. After everything, then his own father, turned his back on him. And God did this because he literally could not look on that much sin. He physically couldn't. It was the sin of the whole world that Jesus had on him. And Jesus was just so sad about this. And then in verse 50, it says, Jesus, when he had cried again with a loud voice, yielded up the ghost. And there's two parts that are important in verse 50. The first one is he had cried again with a loud voice. So Jesus cried out to God, or just cried out about 7 times all throughout the gospel stories. And each time there's more times recorded in the other gospels, but in Matthew it only records a few. But he cried out, and at this point, like, usually people who were crucified were like exhausted or just died at this point. Like, not a lot of people lasted as long as Jesus did. They usually died really soon after because they're just exhausted and worn out and they're hanging. But Jesus didn't. And so a lot of people don't understand that Jesus decided when he was going to die on the cross. Like, he was obviously going to die, but he chose when he was going to. And that's explained in John 10:18. If I can get there. Okay. It says, no man taketh it from me, but I lay it down of myself. I have power to lay it down, and I have power to take it again. This commandment have I received of my Father. So Jesus chose when he was going to die, and he chose at this point that he was. And that's really all of Matthew 27. It's really sad. It's really horrible. But I hope you begin to understand that Jesus died our death so that we could live his resurrection, that we're going to hear about in just a few days. And I'm really excited to hear the person speaking on that. But I hope you'll have a great rest of the week, and I hope I've answered any questions you might have had. And yeah, bye guys.